In the high deserts of New Mexico, an 87-year-old shepherd still walks 10 miles a day, owns fewer than 80 possessions, and hasn't seen a doctor in over 2 decades. His secret? He lives like his body is borrowed from nature itself, light, disciplined, and deliberately free of excess. This isn't just about minimalism. It's about outliving chaos by simplifying life to its fiercest essence. What if the real path to longevity wasn't in vitamins or gym routines, but in subtraction? In this video, we'll explore how extreme minimalism, rooted in Spartan living and ancient life rhythms, can slow time, clear your mental arteries, and restore the quiet intelligence of your biology. Not by doing more, but by needing less. You'll learn 5 forgotten strategies, from fasting space in your home to resetting your daily rhythm, that don't just declutter your shelves. They extend the lifespan of your attention, your energy, and your years. Let's begin where most people never look: the art of living long, with almost nothing. In the highland regions of Sardinia, where the sun ages the stones and silence rests between olive trees, centenarians rise slowly with the light. Their mornings are not ignited by alarms or scrolling screens, but by the innate rhythm of their breath syncing with the land. Their homes are sparse: wooden chairs, a pot, a wall etched with decades of sunlight. This isn't poverty. This is deliberate stillness. An ecosystem stripped to its essence, like a tree shedding its leaves to endure the winter. What modern life often misunderstands is that longevity isn't fueled by constant motion, but by intentional pauses. In our cities, we move quickly, think fast, consume endlessly. Our hearts beat not with vitality, but with anxiety. But the body was not made for this tempo. It was carved by slowness, trained by scarcity, and evolved to thrive in cycles of rest. To extend life, one must reintroduce slowness not just as a luxury, but as a form of survival. The minimalists of long life understand this. They curate their days with fewer inputs, not more. No overstimulating breakfast buffet, no chaotic multitasking, no relentless consumption of noise. Instead, they allow space. Space for breath, space for hunger, space for light to pour in through uncluttered windows. It is in this space that the metabolism learns patience. It begins to repair instead of react. The immune system, unburdened by constant inflammation from sensory overload, steadies itself like a forest allowed to regrow. Stillness is not stagnation. It is metabolically alive. When we pare down our surroundings, remove clutter, detach from digital overstimulation, and strip our schedules to their bones, we return the body to a slower gear. That's when healing happens. That's when the clock stretches and time folds gently instead of crashing forward. In the end, the secret isn't to add more years to your life, but to subtract everything that shortens it. Let us begin there, with the metabolism of stillness. Beneath the canopy of the Costa Rican Nicoya Peninsula, where the air carries whispers of salt and mango trees, life is breathtakingly simple. Homes are not measured by the number of rooms, but by the number of open windows through which the wind is allowed to sing. Here, the people breathe deeply, not just because of clean air, but because they live lives uncluttered by chaos. Simplicity is not an aesthetic, it is their oxygen, and it keeps them alive far longer than most. You see, the modern world has made breathing shallow, not just physiologically, but spiritually. We inhale responsibilities, debts, schedules, and dopamine hits in rapid succession, never truly exhaling what no longer serves us. Over time, our nervous system is caught in a vice, tight, contracted, on edge. Our breath mirrors this, short, quick, almost panicked. But those who live long, really long, they breathe differently. Their lives breathe differently. They have less, and because of this, they carry more life within them. When your environment is minimal, when your possessions are intentional, the entire system, body, mind, and breath, slows to a healing rhythm. Simplicity becomes a kind of inner spaciousness. You don't just make room on your shelves, you make room in your lungs. Your blood pressure thanks you. Your cells repair without interference. Even the brain shifts from the fast beta waves of stress to the slow, restorative hum of presence. There is something almost primal about this. When the noise is removed, when your eyes rest on blank walls instead of flashing screens, the breath descends lower into the belly. And in that descent, you activate the body's natural medicine, oxygen, calm, longevity. It is not the supplements, the fad diets, or the biohacks that extend life. It is simplicity, the kind that gives your breath and your being room to expand. That, more than anything, is the real air of vitality. And in the breath of simplicity, life lingers longer. In a remote village tucked away in the Italian hills of Sardinia, time moves not in minutes, but in meaning. The people here do not rise to blaring alarms or rush toward an agenda. They wake with the sun, eat with intention, walk with their thoughts, and rest without guilt. Their days are not jammed with tasks, but enriched with rituals. And that, perhaps more than anything, is why so many of them live past 100. You see, modern life worships the routine, the to-do list, the fast, mechanical ticking of productivity. But in that speed, something vital slips away, the presence that once accompanied our actions, the quiet conversation between soul and task. Rituals, in contrast, are sacred. They are slow. They are deliberate. They ask us to be there, fully, not just physically, but spiritually. Minimalist living doesn't just clear your home. It clears the haze that separates you from the moment. It brings you back to the coffee you're making, the book you're reading, the way the morning light dances on your wooden floor. Over time, these small acts, repeated with grace, begin to rewrite your biology. Rituals reduce cortisol levels. They slow heart rate. They rewire the nervous system into a state of safety, healing, and regeneration. You're no longer sprinting through life. You're inhabiting it. There is longevity in this rhythm. Not because the ritual itself is magical, but because it realigns you with nature's tempo. Your body isn't built for constant alerts and fragmented attention. It was made for flow, for gentle repetition, for the soothing familiarity of rhythm. When you brush your teeth with presence, when you fold your clothes like a prayer, when you walk simply to walk, not to get somewhere, you are communicating to your cells. We are safe. We are home. Rituals are what remain when you remove the unnecessary. And what remains, when held with reverence, sustains life. In these quiet, sacred acts, the clock slows and the soul lingers. Beneath our ribs, silently, a symphony unfolds every second of every day. The nervous system, that unseen network of wires and waves, interprets the world and decides if we are safe or if we must run. It does not read emails or clocks or to-do lists. It reads tone, pace, silence, space. It listens to the atmosphere in which we live. And for most of us, that atmosphere is cluttered, noisy, and relentless. In an age where information arrives faster than thought, and devices buzz before we've breathed in the morning air, the nervous system is quietly burning out. It's no wonder we age prematurely, sleep restlessly, and carry chronic fatigue like a second skin. The modern world is stimulating us into exhaustion. But minimalist living offers something radical in its simplicity, a buffer, a sanctuary, an exhale. To live with less is not simply about having fewer objects. It's about reducing the frequency of threat signals to the body. Fewer decisions mean less mental taxation. Fewer commitments mean more white space in the day. Less noise, literal and emotional, creates room for the parasympathetic system to do what it's meant to do: restore, digest, repair. When you remove the excess, you reintroduce calm. You give the nervous system a predictable rhythm to rest within. A clear table, a slow morning, a quiet evening without screens. These are not luxuries, they are medicine, and their cumulative impact is profound. Longevity is not just a product of diet or exercise. It's a nervous system that isn't constantly sounding the alarm. Simplicity gives the body permission to heal. It allows us to shift from fight or flight to rest and thrive. And that shift, sustained over years, is not just soothing, it's life-extending. The less we flood ourselves with unchosen stimuli, the more we create an internal environment where life doesn't just continue, it deepens. In the quiet, the body finds its way back to balance. And in that balance, life begins to stretch. If you observe the oldest among us, the wise ones who've reached the far edges of life, you'll find they move slowly, not only because the body demands it, but because they've discovered something. That time is not to be chased, but tasted. In a world obsessed with squeezing productivity from every minute, we have forgotten how to simply exist within one. Minimalism, at its core, is not about denial, it is about recovery. It's the gentle art of reclaiming the one thing no money can buy and no bargain can extend: time. The longer we live in the hustle of accumulation, more gadgets, more appointments, more status, the shorter life begins to feel. Days blur, years compress. Life becomes a checklist, not a lived experience. But when we strip away the excess, something miraculous happens. We begin to notice the layers of time we've long ignored. The way light falls across the floor at 2:15 p.m. The sound of your own breath while making tea. The fact that a conversation, uninterrupted, can feel like a small eternity. Time, when uncluttered, slows down. And in that slowness, we begin to live not longer just in years, but in presence. Moments stretch, memories deepen. You are no longer a bystander in your own life, but a participant, attentive and aware. This, perhaps more than any supplement or medical breakthrough, is the great secret to longevity. A life not only prolonged, but profoundly lived. A life where your attention is your most prized possession, and where your minutes are not sacrificed to the gods of urgency and consumption. To live with less is to free time from the bondage of busyness. And when time is free, so are we. In that freedom lies joy, and in joy, there is vitality. The kind that lasts, the kind that matters. As we come to the end of this journey, let us remember, longevity is not simply about the length of life, but the depth with which it is lived. A minimalist path is not a sacrifice, it is a soft return. A return to what is essential, nourishing, and timeless. When we let go of the noise, the clutter, the insatiable chase, we make room for stillness, presence, and vitality. We begin to see life not as something to manage, but as something to marvel at. Less truly becomes more, not in theory, but in the very fabric of our days, in the quiet joy of waking with purpose and sleeping without regret. If this has stirred something within you, I invite you to continue. There's an entire world waiting, rich in insight and simplicity. Explore the Microtopia series to see how small spaces can hold expansive wisdom. Wander through the Elderly Wisdom playlist, where long lives speak volumes in soft, steady voices. There's no race. Just step forward gently. Let your next moment be lighter, and your next choice more meaningful. Welcome to the quieter revolution.